Hey everyone, this is David Hayes, the founder of the Musee. I wanted to make a video to start from the beginning and try to bring it back home. I want to speak about myself as an artist around 13 years ago, finding myself as an artist after that, to then be a curator and founder of what is now the Musee. So when I was 17, I was institutionalized. My mental health waivers, as a lot of you know, it is a pillar by which the Metamusee as an establishment is being built. For years, we've hosted mental health spaces. I say this to bring back to when I was 17 and I learned about coping skills. I learned that I had no real way that was positive or productive, constructive, good. I had no good way to let out all of the things that were within myself. So I learned about leisure, and I say it just the way I learned it. It's what do you know about leisure? Can you define it? Leisure is what you do to have fun. And what do you do to enjoy yourself in a positive, constructive, productive way? What have you always done? Thinking back to who you are is where I was at this time. And I always knew that as a kid, I played with my action figures. I love modeling things, building things, breaking things. I had always drawn, and you can ask anyone who's ever known me. I've always just drawn in every notebook. I'm a severe doodler. So at one of the exercises when I was institutionalized, they said, "Hey, it's time to doodle. Pretty much we're going to give you paper, we're going to give you pencils, pens, paint, whatever you want to use. You can write, you can draw, you can do whatever you want to do." And this concept, and again, when I was 17, by no means was I ignorant to life. I was very well integrated into how shitty things could be quite early. But then I had no idea how I could make. I kind of want to stop there on how I could make, how I could create. What good was I to be able to create something? So I started seeing everything I did differently. So as I continued to paint and draw, and I like abstract, I like ready-made, I like trash art, I realized that I wanted to find myself as a bit more of a thinker and an artist than someone who does physical labor. By trade, I'm somebody who does physical labor. For the past 5 years, I have not. Uh, so let's go back to, again, when I was 17 to then around 21 to 23. I wanted to start venturing out to see if I could be an artist, if someone could see me as an artist without the need for the accolades or the certificates that people want you to pay them for in schools and things like that. I'm really opposed to the man in a lot of ways like that. I do believe in education. I do believe in formal education. I do believe in being able to educate yourself at home. I do believe in learning things from different people. I do believe in experiences. So as a 23, 24-year-old, when I lived in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, I found out that nobody cared about my art. They didn't want my art in their galleries and their exhibitions and with any notoriety because I didn't have any of the accolades. I wasn't a notorious artist, and I was a nobody. My art wasn't. It was mediocre at best. Still is, if you ask me. I realized that maybe I could go online. Again, I tried to sell artwork within my home, my artwork on the walls. I tried to invite friends for months, built the press on it. No one cared to show up. Everybody knew about it. I talked to a lot of people about it. No one really cared to show up. I learned that the people home aren't really the people who acknowledge things when they think that they know you. They have this preconception of who you are, what you can do. And as that does build in Web3 and things, I digress. I found myself going to Facebook online to try to share my artwork. Say, hey, I like these things. I make these quotes. I make these backgrounds. I put them together. This is what I do. I'm not even saying this is what I do. It's just show it. Everything's self-promotion. A lot of things get in a way that make you feel like you never should have said it to begin with. I never should have shared my artwork. I never should have felt this way. It's very disheartening. So I created a Facebook group to do just the opposite for everyone I could. What I did was I created a Facebook group and I implore artists to self-promote, to tell me about what they're grateful for, what they love, the positive, the light. And we named this group Aesthetes. As my LLC is I Am Aesthete LLC, I initially called this group Aesthetes. A couple years later, changed to the Musee des Aesthetes. About a year or so later, we changed it to the Meta Musee. Now, for years, a lot of people only know us as the Meta Musee. I'm getting to my point, so if you're still here listening, thank you so much. Please give it a comment, a like, and share it to your friends, okay? You know what I'm saying. Again, my name is David Hayes. I'm trying to bring it home. Who am I? Why did I start the Meta Musee, and why should you care? Why would you care? Okay, so as a group on Facebook, primarily to allow artists to share their artwork, and for me to share my artwork and not need someone else's permission or the need for accolades to be able to be accepted in a place I knew that I could create that place for myself and for others. So I did. Now, we are on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, X. We do have a collection of artists represented on the blockchain. But that's really what brought me to X, to Twitter, from Facebook and Instagram, is I realized not only the virtual reality aspects of what I was heading towards, but the history aspect of the blockchain. So as I do like to venture into technologies, I do like to learn new things, it really hit home when I found out that I could solidify myself. I could solidify the Meta Musee. I could make this thing something so much more than I had ever thought it could be. Again, here we are today. You kind of see that, and I hope you see that. Not to toot my own horn, but I want to go back to a couple years ago when we had a lot more of a team. We had a back-end developer, a front-end developer, a smart contract developer, an art director, a team of individuals willing and able to work on things together as a collective, as a team, to move things forward. So as we had a team that was working to be able to set up an artist in the musee's own DApp, their website, to be able to connect your wallet and buy their art on their website with no middleman, and then the Musee team would get a percentage. That's the initial way that this started, and as it worked successfully, in my opinion, on the initial mint, when money came into the mix, things got dicey. Okay, I say this again. This was the time. This was the inaugural dollar. That first dollar you get, this is when you see what happens when people get money, right? You see what doesn't happen. People get mad. They didn't mint out. This gets happened to this and that. That team no longer rightly works with the Meta Musee, and they did initially plan to try to do their own thing with their own time. The museum wasn't rightly what they wanted to do. They wanted to make money and make contracts and make DApps, and I get it. I'm trying to bring the story back home, though, so if I may understand that we're still a couple years back. So in like 2022, I think it was the end of 2021, beginning of 2022, we decided to start integrating things like the magazine, the radio, Minty, a lot of different things that the Meta Musee wanted to do to help build our own IP while sustaining a collective of individuals. What I realized is that I needed to step back from the money, the monetization, and focus on the community. If you know anything about the Meta Musee, what I do primarily is I share the artwork from the artists who have their artwork within the Meta Musee collection or plan to. They have been a member of our community for a long time. They have seeked out curation. Again, on our website, there's a curation application. All it is you tell me, you get into the door and tell me who you are so I can open it and we can talk. As I hope not to ramble here, I really just wanted to touch base as like I'm an artist who wanted to have a collective of people to be able to share their stuff. I wasn't thinking about people buying art. I wasn't thinking about rightly being a curator those years ago. But for now, for years, I have been. I have worked to be a curator for a collective, for an establishment that is worldwide. And I do my best to give far more than I take. And that is the brand here. As we are many, we are one. That means that we do our best, period, for one another, for ourselves. And we have to maintain that. It goes back to the rising tide lifts all ships. Well, when everybody's out there looking for the next person to help them patch this thing on their boat, or the next, honestly, if I may just say, the next place to show their artwork for 5 minutes to get the notoriety of the people who like this place, to get these people who like that person's art to follow them so they can get the notoriety and the followed by and all the other stuff that happens on X in the NFT community, which is just stank. We wanted to maintain a collective of individuals that the world will be able to see as individuals that are members of the Museum, the permanent collection. I know a lot of you who have been in the space have heard of a permanent collection, but I want to just express that the Musee does not purchase the artwork, nor will we sell it. It is a permanent collection, meaning that the artwork that has been sent in to us is locked on the blockchain, as that is the time that they sent it into the museum. And you can track who made it, when they made it, all that. Again, locked in history, baby. All right, it's no games. I'm not playing like, you can see the few pieces of artwork that were free mints that I did purchase to get the free mint for the artist on behalf of the artist. Throughout the years, things have done, had its turns and tables, right? My point in saying all this, I realized in Profits Over Wages, Shanice in her space, they were speaking about these communities, these brands that have existed, like the Meta Musee. We've been around for years. You've seen us, but you want to know what we're doing, where we're going, where's the roadmap, what do we have, why, this, where, who. So that's where I'm at. My name is David. I'm a mediocre artist at best. I like to create stuff. I like to care about people. That's what brought me here. Again, the Musee wasn't built with an established business model. We were not initially made to be something that now could be a substantial nonprofit with its own for-profit, with the LLC in mind. So as I work to integrate all of this, as a lot of you know, I have a 2-week-old, I'm about to have a 12-year-old. I am married. A lot of things that we have in our life that nobody knows. Understand, everybody has those things, whether or not it's a spouse, a house, a job, a this, a lack thereof, okay? Everybody out there is working just as hard as you. And whether or not you can see it or not is how much you've taken the time to see it. And again, don't waste your time in places that are toxic and hard for you. My point is to bring reference to why the Musee was built. And that is why I initially created the Meta Musee on Facebook. Because I needed a place to safely share my art, to safely be able to express myself. And that is what I want it to be for you and every other person in the world. I do have grand plans. We are working to be able to make things to where the magazine and the artist spotlight and the IRL location displays in multiple locations in real time all the time. I am working on these things. But it goes back to roadmap. I'm not here to pump what I want, because everything that we've tried to do with the hopes of the community by telling them ultimately falls on its face when I'm the only one. Or shout out to a few members of the Musee. Again, Real Cats, A-Rod, Nikos, Vinny. I mean, the list can go on. JPF, a new member of the Musee for the past couple of months, has really been showing face. Vishay, thank you so much for the appreciation post. everybody who's doing all that they can for the artists within the Meta Musee. It's not all about what you're doing for the Musee. It's the collective. We have a list. Go check it out. I can keep going on, but my main point is to really just bring it home. My name is David Hayes. I'm the founder of the Meta Musee, but I am not the Meta Musee. We are the Meta Musee. For we are many, but we are one. It's getting a bit of a cliche. It's almost like toxic positivity, but we can say that we're as many and we are one all you want, but until we show face, until we continue to support people without it having anything to do with us, we won't be. We can't be. As long as we're thinking about I, we'll never think about we. So do yourself that favor. Okay, break out of the bonds, the barrier they want you to keep thinking about you, and think about what you can do. Like I said at the beginning, I didn't know I could create. It's like, holy shit, I can create something? I'm making something right now? You're making something. You're doing something. You are. Continue to be, please. For you and the rest of the world, please continue to be all that you are. We are the Meta Musee, for we are many, but we are one. Expect us.